This whole thing on YouTube right now where you put your hair in a ponytail and you just cut it, yeah, we're not gonna do that today. We're not gonna do that. I am not even going to go into the many reasons why I feel like that is very risky for someone who's not a hairstylist. Truthfully, even for someone who is a hairstylist, so much can go wrong with that technique. Today, I am gonna teach you how to give yourself a long layered haircut though, with some face framing pieces, and I'm gonna teach you how to do it in the exact same way that I do it on my own clients. Let's get started. For this haircut, you are going to need a few tools. You are going to need hairdressing scissors. You can buy them online, you can buy them on Amazon, and you need a hairdressing comb. As you can see, one side of the comb is wide tooth and one side is fine tooth. This is very helpful to have, especially if you plan on keeping up with this or you plan on giving your family members haircuts as well. The first thing that we're gonna do is part our hair directly in the middle so that the haircut is even no matter which way we decide to part our hair later. This gives us some flexibility in our future styling. The next thing that we're gonna do is subsection the hair from just behind the ears forward and put that in a clip so that it's nice and neat and tidy and you don't get confused when you're working on the back. Now you're gonna take a pie section from the back of the middle of the head and you're gonna bring it up. You are gonna position your fingers so that your fingertips are reaching towards the ceiling on an angle. What this is gonna do is keep that top layer long. All right, I'm gonna show you what I mean on a mannequin head. So if you position your fingers parallel to the ceiling, the layer at the top gets shorter. If you angle it the other way, then it goes from a short to a long layer. I have fine hair, so I don't like a lot of layering, if any at all. So I position my fingers in a way to ensure that my layer is long. My fingers are positioned in a way that when I drop the hair, that layer is gonna be long. Once I have that angle set and taut in my hands, I can bring the hair down and snip those ends. Look at how dry and pathetic my ends are here. I needed this cut so badly. After you've cut the first section, you now have a great guide to work with. All those other sections are going to be based on this guide. No pressure. Everything else is based on this one cut. Snip, snip. So now I'm gonna take half of that previous section and integrate it into a new pie section right beside it. Again, I am angling the hair up, making sure my fingers are in the position that I want them to be in, finding that previous guide and cutting to match the guide. So as you can see, I now have some nice long layers on the one side and there are no layers at all on the other side. Pretty easy, right? Now we're gonna go and we're gonna do the other side. So take half of that first section cut for our guide and add hair that hasn't been cut. Position your hands and cut. You can really see that guide here. Do you see that? Do you see how clearly that is? You really just have to match that first cut to all the other cuts. Now again, take half of that section you just cut, pie out a new section and do it again. Keep doing this until you finish the entire back. I personally like using smaller to mid-sized sections so that I am neat and controlled. If you have thicker hair, you will need more sections than I do with finer hair. If you have finer hair than I do, you may need even less sections. Just make sure that the hair that is in your hands is neat and it's not spilling out all over the place. The neater you can keep the hair in your hands, the better your haircut's gonna turn out. Now I just take the hair outwards to double check that it's the same length on both sides. Because I am a little bit neurotic, I typically go through the entire cut at the back again to make sure that I didn't miss any pieces at all. I always find that the second time around, I still have a few hairs that I missed or that I need to take off in order for the cut to look really, really perfect. Here's a little hairstylist tip for you. When you are sectioning, make sure that you are using the fine tooth part of the comb so that everything is in order before you cut. You want it to be taut and perfect before you take anything off. When you get to the front, it is tremendously important to be very careful here because the front hair tends to be a lot more fine than the back of the head, and you can get a hole real quick, especially if you have any thinning in that area at all. And a lot of people do have either like a deep recession here at the temples, or they just have really fine hair on the sides. I have had so many holes cut into my hair because my hair is so fine at the front. It's not even funny. So many holes, even from like really great senior stylists. So what I'm gonna do here to maintain my baseline is seriously over direct that section back. When you over direct hair, you keep a lot of length. So make sure that the bottom section, which is the baseline, falls out of the comb, and then cut those ends. Do less than you think. Seriously, so much can go wrong at the front if you have fine or thinning hair. If your hair is thicker at the front, you can do a bit more, but if your hair is thin at all, like proceed with caution. Do the exact same thing on the other side now. Over direct the hair back. Check that your finger angling is pointing down so that the top layer stays long. Make sure that baseline bottom section falls out, and then cut. You can always cut more front layers when the hair is dry, but you can't fix a hole. So chill, seriously, don't overdo it. I don't want anyone crying over there after using my tutorial as a guide. Now let's do some precision face framing layering. Are you ready? Do you have your hair nerd glasses on? Pay attention. Section that front area just above the ear out and clip the back away so that you don't get confused, okay? We're just working at the front now. What I'm gonna do now is take a tiny triangular section right at the front of my hair, and I'm gonna use that as my initial guide. So remember how we had the guide in the back? We're gonna make a guide now for the face framing. Length at the front, because I have a cowlick and I also like wearing my hair swoopy. So I'm gonna use my chin as my guide. Some people like to use below the nose if they want more of like a serious curtain bang fringe. I did a tutorial on that where I did cut it to my nose, so I'll leave a link to it in the pinned comment if you want to see what it would look like if you cut that section to the nose. At the front, I like to point cut all my sections so that they are wispy and so that they blend better. All that means is that you are cutting in on an angle and not straight across so that you get little peaks and valleys in the hair. It's not a blunt cut, it's peaked. Now let's work on one side at a time. You're gonna take these diagonal subsections and you're going to combine your guide with it and cross it over to the other side. Keep your fingers parallel to the subsection and point cut. By angling it across your face like this, you are creating this natural bevel. Take another section, go across your face, angling your fingers so that it's parallel to the part, and point cut. Repeat this a few times and keep checking your work to make sure that you are getting that soft angle that you want and that it is all even and really nicely blended. When you are done, tuck it away and start working on the other side, doing the exact same thing as before. If your hair starts to get dry, make sure to re-wet it. It has to be really wet in order to get that precision. When you are done this side, go through your layers and check your work to make sure that each side really is perfectly even. If one side is longer than the other, then you just need to angle your fingers a little bit more on the longer side to even it up. That happened to me. One side was a little longer, so I just went back section by section, angling my fingers a little bit more. Now I just blew it all out and then I straightened everything with a flat iron. Even if you don't like wearing your hair super straight, and I don't, I always like to wear my hair with volume. If you go through this extra step, you can see where there is heaviness and where there are weight lines. You will immediately see if something is uneven when your hair is super straight, and you can fix it. So just straighten it super bone straight, just so that you can see what's going on. This extra step really will lead to a much more professional looking haircut. Now I basically redid the entire haircut, but dry. I checked it all dry. And while I did that, I point cut into every layer so that it blended perfectly into my hair. You don't want to remove length here. We've already done that when the hair was wet, but you do want to remove density. So don't angle your scissors because you will cut off length. Bring the tip of the scissors into the hair totally straight down, and that will chip away some of that thickness. I did this for every single section at the back. Now, when I get to the front, I noticed that I wanted a tiny bit more face framing, so I took that frontal section forward across my face and I slid my scissors down gently through that section. If you have fine hair like me at the front, make sure when you do this that the section is going across your face before you slide cut, because it will over direct the hair and leave more length, so there is less of a chance that you will make a big mistake or cut a hole or just like totally take off all of that density at the front. If you feel any heaviness, you can also go in and you can point cut it just to make it softer and more blended. Of course, repeat the same steps on the other side as well. This is what the haircut looks like when it is completely straight. As you can see, I have some beautiful, even blended layers and some nice, heavy face framing layers. There is loads of movement without there being any chunkiness, which is key. And also my hair feels absolutely amazing now, which is so awesome. This is how this haircut looks after giving myself an extreme volume blowout. It is a very 90s supermodel, which was the haircut inspiration that I pinned on Pinterest. I really wanted to go back to that 90s supermodel vibe. That's why I gave myself this haircut, and I definitely think we achieved that. If you're gonna do this and you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. The video is over.